Hello and welcome to Hi-Fi update number 2. Something a little bit different. This week we've got a radio tuner, analog radio tuner from the early 80s, both AM and FM, and it is a Luxman T-230. Now I saw this on eBay a few weeks back and it had a starting bid of £4.99. I just put a small bid on it and didn't expect to win it, didn't expect anything to come of it. We didn't even really follow the auction. It was just at the end of the week got a message coming through saying I'd won. So I thought, oh, I wonder what that sold for. Couldn't have gone for much. Went to check. It just went for £4.99. Nobody else bid on it. Which I found rather surprising. But there's probably a reason for it, and the reason is it came with this plug. Now this is a European plug, not a UK plug, and I'd imagine it put off sort of casual buyers from buying it. And the serious hi-fi buyers, well, they perhaps wouldn't have bought this unit anyway, because it's one of the mid-range models rather than one of the high-end models. As I say, this is the kind of plug we use in the UK. And so I picked it up cheap. There was £8 delivery as well, so it's £12.99 altogether. But the unit's in wonderful condition. The front plate's virtually mint, hardly a mark on it. There's a few slight marks on the top and on the end gold panels, and a few on the top there, but they're only slight. As I say, it is in very good condition, especially considering its age. And have opened it up, and inside the thing is absolutely mint, totally clean, not a problem anywhere. And I said the whole thing is in perfect working order. Now, of course, the first thing I need to do is to change the plug. I don't want a Euro plug, although I have got adapters. I don't want a Euro plug, and all you've got to do to change that is literally take it off and wire on a UK plug, so no big deal at all. But I do not want the unit to have a captive mains lead. As you can see here, the lead is built in to the equipment, it's captive, and that is not something that I want on my hi-fi equipment. Now the lead, it has to be said, it came with is very good quality. It's thick, good quality cable. A lot of these captive mains leads are literally cheap and nasty rubbish. They're the thinnest thing the manufacturer could get away with. Not here. Luxman has done a good job of putting a thick solid cable, especially as this is only a radio tuner. I've seen amplifiers that claim to have big power outputs use thinner cables than that, which is just ludicrous. But good quality cable, but it needs to go. There's two reasons I don't like them. One is this cable is just standard electric flex. There's no shielding, there's no protection from interference. It's not helping the sound quality of this unit at all. And the other one is, at any one given moment in time, most of my hi-fi equipment is packed away in boxes. It's not actually being used, and it's very awkward packing things away in boxes when you've got leads stuck on the back and plugs and things like that getting in the way, bashing about. It's much easier if you can just pull the lead out, put what is ultimately just a box into another box and pack it away nice and neatly. Now to do this, there are two ways of doing it. Now the way I intend to do it is to actually put an IC socket like this and actually fix it into the unit here. Now that's going to mean you taking it apart, drilling a hole, cutting out the shape with the Dremel, bolting the thing on, resoldering it up inside. That's going to be a fair bit of work. I'm also going to put on this, which is actually a speaker banana plug, recessed thing that will actually be fitted again in here somewhere, and that will actually be used as a chassis earth. Nothing to do with speaker connections. It'll be chassis earth, something that I'll discuss in a video in the future. It's basically a second earth ring to help with the earthing of your equipment, and it's very much a nerdy hi-fi sort of audiophile tweak, and it's something I'll cover much later on. It's not something that I need to worry about at the moment, but that is definitely going to be fitted onto that. But as I say, it's a fiddly job. It'll probably take the best part of 2 hours start to finish, but I'll get on with that and show it later in the video. But there is another way of doing it as well, if I wanted to, and that's simply you fit one of these, and it is simply an IC plug that's meant to be attached to cables. And what you do is you cut the cable on here and you fit the IC plug so that it's just out the back of the equipment. That is then, it's easier to tidy away. You've still got this thing flapping about at the back, but you can of course then use decent quality specialist hi-fi mains leads, and of course you can plug it straight into the back there. So it's a very, very easy way of enabling your equipment to use decent quality mains leads. I mean, not everybody is going to be into cutting open equipment and soldering and all the rest of it, but if you're capable of wiring a plug, you can easily fit this to the back of your equipment, and then it enables you to fit specialist leads to your gear. But in my case, I'm going to be actually cutting the thing apart and fitting that IC lead to the back. And here we have the Luxman T-230 with the modifications made. IC socket fitted to the back of the unit. It's just a standard IC socket, but good quality, good chunky piece of kit. And the chassis earth fitted there. Now, as I say, I'll cover chassis earths more in a future video, sometime in the distant future. I used to use standard sort of speaker binding posts, and I used to fit them to the back of equipment. But they're big, they're chunky, they stick out, they're annoying when you're trying to package things away. And I just happened to come across these flush mount versions, and I've been using them ever since. Just bought a load of them, and keeps it nice and clean, nice and simple. But as I say, something that'll be covered in the future video. The IC socket on the other hand, very useful. Got rid of that capless mains lead, and of course enables me to use high quality hi-fi mains leads with this unit from now on, which is very good indeed. Now, one of the first things to do when you buy a piece of second-hand equipment is to clean it. Now, what I use for cleaning the equipment is simply this. It is Flash with Bleach. Very powerful cleaner at cleaning off grubby fingerprints and grime and general dirt without causing any damage to the equipment. There's no abrasive in here, just as a very, very good cleaning job. I mean, always spray this onto a cloth, then clean the equipment. Never spray it directly onto the equipment. It might go inside the various sockets and buttons and what have you, be a nuisance. But say, very, very good cleaner. Never ever use abrasive with hi-fi, you're down to damage it. And for finishing off, I usually use something like this, which is simply an anti-static cleaner. And you can see that a picture of a PC being cleaned. Very, very useful stuff, not just for the hi-fi components, but also for the cables and everything as well. It helps with electrical properties, as well as actually getting the stuff nice and clean. So that's what I use to physically clean it. But then we get on to something that's actually more important. Physically clean is really just cosmetic, and that's cleaning the electrical contacts. All these little contacts here need to be kept clean. This is true of your existing equipment as well as new, but when I buy it new, or also second hand like this here, always clean it straight away. And what I use is this, is DeoxIT D5. It's the best electrical cleaner that I've come across. It's not cheap, something like this is about £20 or more. But even with all my equipment, it easily lasts about 3 years, and it's worth every single penny. You can get cheaper contact cleaner as well. And what I actually use to clean it is, well, first of all, I just spray some of it into its own lid, and then use little brushes like this, little sort of wire brushes to go actually inside sockets, and these to be used on the outside of sockets, and then clean all the sockets in the equipment. And here we have the RCA output sockets. Now, with a bit of the contact cleaner on this little wire brush, it literally goes in here, little pipe cleaner. You push it into the holes, and you clean the sockets. Now, for the outside of the socket, just use this again with a little bit of the cleaner on it. Just go round the outside of the things, and that's it. Very, very simple, very quick. And you go across all the sockets, and you clean all the sockets, including plugs, the IC socket, and the actual mains leads as well, making sure the mains leads are actually disconnected from the mains when you do it. But absolutely all the electrical contacts get cleaned. And you should do this on your equipment about every, probably every 6 months at the very least. If you don't, degradation will occur, and your equipment will gradually sound worse and worse and worse, until eventually problems start occurring with buzzes and pops and clicks and humming and general annoyance. But I noticed on my system, within 6 months, the system doesn't sound anything like as good as it did when it was last put together. And clean is very, very important, that you keep those electrical contacts clean. And here we have the Luxman T-230 plugged in. So let's switch it on. And as you can see, there's a small display there. And there's a little LED there because we're on the number 1 preset there. Now this might be flickering on the film. I say it doesn't flicker at all in real life. It's completely steady, and the image is very, very good on it indeed. Now, it's ever such a simple unit. You've got memory scan here, got up and down buttons there, and you've got mono, and you've got AM, FM, so memory scan, and then you can store using these presets, and that literally is it. Very, very simple. RCA outputs at the back, and that's pretty much your lot, and various different aerial connections. I just use a basic FM type aerial, sort of ribbon fitted to the back if I want to use it. Ideally you'd want a roof mounted aerial. A roof mounted aerial would certainly give the best results. But I'm not big into listening to the radio, to be honest. And alright, you might be thinking, well, if I'm not big into listening to the radio, why on earth have I bought this radio? And the answer is, I really see it as well, another piece of hi-fi equipment, but I really see it as an amplifier accessory. One of the things that I've got on my wish list at some point in the future, no rush, but is one of the Luxman integrated amplifiers from the early 80s in the same sort of matching case as this. And this will just be used with it, it'll be put on top of it or somewhere near it, and sort of turn it into a receiver if you like. You've got the amplifier and the radio together, and they look good together as well, so nice matching equipment, even if the rest of the equipment I'm using isn't Luxman. Just having the two together fits, and as I say, it only costs $4.99. Alright, with the postage, $12.99. But this is high quality, it's Luxman, a premium brand. This is before Alpine took over the brand in the mid-80s. And it's still a premium brand. And you pick this up for £5, well alright, it's £13 actual cost. But if this teaches us anything, it's that there's no excuse for not having high quality hi-fi equipment. Because something like this is good enough. No, right, it's analog radio is dated, but still plenty of stations out there that use analog. You can always get a digital tuner as well, or use your computer for the digital channels. And here, yeah, you get good quality for next to nothing. It's the price of one record, or one old-fashioned price CD, and you've got yourself a proper hi-fi component. And that's it. And as far as reviewing the sound quality on this is excellent. It's very warm, very full, very big bold sound, clean sound. Sounds a lot like tape, cassette tape. I always found that FM radio and cassette tape have a very similar sound quality to them. There's very similar sort of tone and warmth. And it sounds very, very similar. Now this radio tuner is good enough actually to put in my main system as my main analog radio tuner, if I actually want one fitted in the system. But as I say, really it's just bought as a piece of hi-fi jewellery, really, a sort of hi-fi accessory to go with amplifiers in future. But to say, if you ever come across one of these, it's highly recommended. Say it looks very nice, and say works very well too. Now, as with any hi-fi, you can always do a few things to improve the sound quality by adding a few tweaks here and there. Now the first thing is, this is a radio, it therefore needs an aerial. Now they do originally come with a little square radio here which connects across to here. Didn't come with that. I've got several in the attic, mind you. I'm not going to use them because they're pretty rubbish. I mean, connect the aerial directly to here is the best thing to do. And I say use a ribbon type aerial, but if you really want good sound from radio, you need a roof aerial. So that's the first thing to consider. Second thing is, of course, as I already said, specialist mains leads. Use a specialist mains lead. You improve the quality of this, as well as improving the quality or helping to stop interference getting into the rest of your equipment. This, as I've said before, it's kind of like an energy injector. It adds energy to the sound. The sound is bigger, it is bolder, it is warmer, it is smoother, there's a lower noise floor, it's more musical. They might seem like a silly hi-fi, yeah, piece of jewellery, frankly. But they're not. In my experience, these are more important than the interconnect wires, and they're more important than the speaker wire. They make bigger difference to the sound quality. It's all about energy. These get more energy into your equipment. It really is that simple. So, say specialist mains leads pretty much de rigueur, as and when you can afford them. But say you can go on eBay and pick them up cheap. You can certainly get them in the UK for around £30. You don't have to spend big money. And the other thing is, and people probably have already spotted this coming, you can use little cone feet. Look, little wood. Yep, little tiny pieces of wood. Improve the sound quality of your hi-fi equipment. And as always, use 3 feet, not 4. This unit, as you can see, comes with 4 sort of basic sort of rubbery plastic feet, and a completely flat base as well. So it's very, very easy on this to actually put things. Now, depends how I'm going to use this unit sort of in the future, whether I'd actually attach the cone feet to the bottom or whether just leave them loose. Or it's quite possible, if it's going to sit on top of an amplifier, that the amplifier will have the cones and this will actually just be perched on top of the amplifier. But it's simply 3 cone feet under it. I'm choosing to put 2 under the front here and 1 under the back. Those 3 cone feet improve the sound quality of this unit. The timing is tighter and it is more precise, and with the timing being tighter and more precise, you're getting closer to the original recording. You're getting closer to what the artist actually created. You're getting closer to that emotional message that is in the music, and ultimately that's what it's all about. It's not about, oh, you do these tweaks and it technically sounds better, blah blah blah. You're getting closer to the original emotional performance, and that's ultimately what it is all about. And these cones are ever so cheap. They're about £7 for 3. These are the sort of medium-sized ones. Little oak cone feet. Very, very cheap hi-fi mod. And I much prefer wood in this roll to, say, metal or plastic or some of the other materials you can get. Not only are they cheaper, but they maintain a warmth and a smoothness to the sound that, say, metal loses. It tends to make the sound a little bit hard, a little bit tinny. These are just brilliant. Very, very cheap. Very, very easy to get hold of. These are bought on eBay in the UK, and I believe they were £7 including delivery. Just absolutely dirt cheap mod. Right, other things I've done when I took it apart. I mean, obviously I've stuck the IC socket and the chassis earth on the back, but I've also cleaned up the whole of the interior of the unit. By that I mean I've cleaned all the electrical contacts inside. It's very clean inside anyway, but all the electrical contacts have been cleaned just as I've cleaned the outside. That adds additional sparkle to the sound. Straight away I've put some additional shielding in there on the various microprocessors that are in there, and the basic metal casework has had additional damping put on the inside of it to help stop resonances. All these little things just go to help improve the sound. Now the modifications to the unit, including the little cone feet, £15 maybe, something like that, so the whole thing comes in at under £30. And it's finished, job done, and then you just add the accessories and say add decent quality mains lead, decent quality interconnects, and decent quality aerial, and you're away. So that's it really. So there it is. The Luxman T-230 analog radio tuner. Now at some point in the future, and it probably will be quite a long way in the future, you'll probably be seeing this actually featured alongside a Luxman integrated amplifier. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.